So here we saw how did the GL master all drive the MIS GLCC mapping table. This is kind of many to many relationship going from left to right. If I change the direction and I say, what if the other table will follow the first one? So in this case, it would be GL account number. Whatever you select over here would get reflected as MIS GLCC. And we say OK. So now the direction of it is changed. Now if we go back to the reporting table, what I'm trying to tell you is GL was part of which table? MIS GLCC would drive GL master. So this table would drive this table rather than this table driving this table. So now if I remove this aspect, now let's see 42004 250. Do we have it? Yes, we do have it. But the same thing, if we select over here and if I try to remove over here, it would still stay. What has happened is the security aspect has taken over. Let's do one thing, many to many relationship. This is how things are. This is what we are trying to do. And we say, okay, let's go back and let's do 42004 050. Yes, there we are. It has been selected. If you say 100, it would also get selected. If there are more than one values over here, if I want to change the property, see, I have a selection control over here. I want to say multi-select. I've set single select all off. That means I can select more than one. So now it has turned into a radio button rather than a checkbox. And I say multi-select, single select off. I will revert it, multi-select on. Okay, I have to click control and select all option, which I don't need. So by default it is multi-select. You can move it to single select if you select that value. Now let me see, if I select two values, then two values would show up. So this table is driving GL account table. The point to note. So based on your usability, importance of the table, you can set the hierarchy and controls based on the dependency variable, which is this relationship. Also selection variable, which is in the property of that selected visual under selection control. Using these two combination, it is very easy to drive filters on your screen. So today, right now, what did we see? We saw import, we saw direct query. Dual mode is something which you can set. So once you set an item in dual mode, system in itself will decide, does it want to cache it or query it or import it. So this is a mid state amongst import and direct query. Direct query is no data imported like we saw over here. If I go back to the table, direct query table is not shown because zero data is imported from that table. It's only the table and the relationship driven outside it. This reduces the load on PBIX file, whereas this is helpful only when you are okay with the network load and of up to 10 million rows. So if you have up to 10 million rows, you can go for direct query, but the load on your network and the load time would increase exponentially based on your network bandwidth and the client desktop. So it's more like a choice which a conscious developer or a designer or a business user who's making this Power BI dashboard to take. Ensure you choose an option which is wise enough for you to drive the business and the user does not wait for the data to arrive. Usually, direct queries are used for small master tables or some dynamic tables which keep on changing. If you want to query probably a stock market, or probably you want to change number of sales amount which is getting accumulated over the day. So Rather than refreshing entire data over the period or periodically, you can have a set of tables which would be a summarized table which would just show the summary of the actual data, which would be quick enough for you to see and really handy for the end users. The major chunk of the background data can be refreshed later on. Right now, we are good with the key metrics getting captured. In such scenarios, you can go for direct query. And data import are for those tables wherein you feel there is huge data which has to travel over the network, and you want to do certain more calculations based on additional columns and measures, that is formulas within Power BI desktop. So these are the two major ways of doing it. Dual mode can be set, but please ensure that if you set something to import, you can't go back and change it to dual mode or direct query. We did see cross filtering, that is single or dual. Dual means both sides. This helps you create a hierarchy of control based on related tables. Which major tables filters the other one. Now we did see many to many relationships today. Let's have a look at one to many and many to one and how they are used. Let's identify them in our current piece of information. If I have to go over here, if you see one is to many, what can be one and where it can be many? So for every order, then can be more than one invoice. So that way it can happen. If you want to see what the one order ID can have more invoice, correct? Similarly, one order can have more order details. One order number can be one and it can have 5 different items to be sent or collected. So for every row item, there is an order detail. So this is a master, this is the child. Similarly, if there is a shippers, so shippers has shipper ID. So there can be one person ordering multiple things. And for every order, there can be multiple invoices, there can be many items within the order. So realize one person, a shopper, will have more orders, or a shoppers or shippers. Shippers is like the transportation guy can have many orders to be collected and sent. This is one way of looking at it. If you scroll down, this is again one customer can have many orders. So if you look at it, if you want to see what the relationship is all about, customer ID is across. So this customer can lie across many orders. This can be possible. So this is one to many. This is also one to many. This is also one to many. Please ensure that you read the table from in the direction of the arrow. So when the arrow is from right to left, you please read it from right to left. So this is one to many in terms of products. When it is this is one to many in terms of customer names. This is one to many in terms of employee IDs. And if I have to tell you, where is many to one? So let's search for many to one. Is there a many to one relationship by any chance? We don't see that. What if I change this direction to many to one? Will it work or will it throw me an error? Let's have a look. So if I say single, if I say both directions, so sometimes you are not permitted to have both directions. Sometimes, so if I say both, what happens? So it is both directions.